Hello guys, we are going to install Ubuntu 18.04 LTS. I am already past the installation screen, the boot menu screen, and this is the live session of Ubuntu 18.04 LTS. To install Ubuntu, you need to click the installer icon on the desktop. Uh, 18.04 is also called Bionic Beaver, and 18.04, the version number, indicates that it was released in 2018-04 month, which is April of 2018. LTS stands for long-term support, which means that this version will keep on receiving updates and security patches till 5 years from now, which would be April of 2023. So to install, we need to double click this installer icon. Yes, this is the first screen. Here you are supposed to select the language in which you want to use Ubuntu. So most of the folks are going to use English. I'm going to select English as well and press continue. Most of the people, their computers are also on US English layout. So I'm going to leave the defaults as they are. Most of the time, this is what you want, unless you are very sure about what you actually, for what your keyboard layout is. It's better not to change it. Do check in the languages on the left though. So I'm setting the default here and continue. So this is just a second. So my wired connection is actually disconnected. I had already disconnected it. If you connect, what you can see that this option, download updates while installing Ubuntu, has been enabled. By default, it would actually be checked in, something like this. However, you might not want to download updates while installing Ubuntu. This saves time after installation. However, there is a risk. The risk is if you are running on battery power, or if the electricity goes out and your internet connection is not fast enough to download all the updates while the installation is running, you might end up with a corrupted installation because your computer is going to shut off due to electricity shortage, and that is something we don't want. It's better to first install Ubuntu without downloading the updates and then install the updates after the system has already been installed. So I'm going to disable it now. Just because you disabled it doesn't mean Ubuntu is not going to connect online and try to figure out the latest updates and all. At times I've seen the Ubuntu installer downloading language files and updates but not installing them, and other such stuff in previous versions. So the better option is to actually go to the menu here and disconnect the internet system itself. So I've just disabled the wired connection. Coming to normal installation and minimal installation. In normal installation, you get everything that is on your DVD. So you get the web browser, you get the Office software, you get games, media players, utilities for editing text, email, and all such things. So the live session that you are seeing, it's actually the normal installation. This is what the normal installation would look like. So you can explore the software that is already installed using the menu here, and you can see there's a calculator, there are backups, there's document view events, and anyway, all these utilities you should get in the minimal installation as well. However, since we are going to need the utilities anyway, we are going to go with normal installation. So select normal installation, disconnect your wireless or wired connection here, and press continue. Okay, so this says erase disk and install Ubuntu. This is the default setting. Since my hard disk does not contain any data right now, this has been automatically selected. If it would have detected, if the installer would have detected Windows, the options would have been a little different here. So anyway, we are not going to use that. We are going to select something else and create our own custom partition layout. So say continue. I have this. This is a 42.9 gigabyte of disk. So I'm going to say new partition table. Uh, this is a fair warning which says that you're going to create a new empty partition table on this device, and all the previous partitions that existed on this device are going to get deleted or recreated or reorganized. So if you press this button, if you press new partition table button while you still have partitions on the device, please look at the warning and do press go back if you need to. I'm going to press continue since my device does not contain any partition. My disk does not contain any partitions as of now. So now it says free space 42 GB. I'm going to add a partition here, and I am going to put in, say, 38 or let's say 36 GB. I just changed the last the two most significant digits, and I'm going to make it a partition, primary partition, and it starts at the beginning of the space, and I'm going to leave the file system is ext4, although there are others. You might want to go for btrfs, but given that it's not completely stable, it's better to stick to ext4, which is the default. The mount point, we are going to stick with only single mount point. Slash, this is the root directory, and everything else on your system is going to be contained inside the root directory. So I'm giving 36.9 approximately GB of space in for the root partition. That's okay. And you can see it says by default it's going to be formatted free space. What we are going to do is we are going to create a swap area for this space, this 6000 MB, approximately 6 gigabytes, and we are going to keep it primary. Remember that this is not really necessary. You can actually use files on your file system as swap areas, but I'm going to go old school in this case, and give it 6 GB, approximately 6 GB of space to the swap. This machine, this virtual machine in which I am installing Ubuntu, is actually having 4 GB of RAM. So the swap size, which is of 6 GB, is 1.5 times 4 GB, and that is what you should stick to. So if your machine has got 8 GB of RAM, it would be ideal if you can afford 12 GB of swap area. So selected, I'm putting this one as primary as well, beginning of the space, which is actually anyway the only space available. So okay, and I have my partition layout ready. I can press install now, and the installation should continue. So now this is again a fair warning saying that you're actually going to write the partition table onto the disk. If you do not want to use this layout with slash mount point, the root mount point with 36 GB, 36.9 GB and approximately 6 GB of swap area, you can press go back button when the warning comes up. I want to use this layout, so I'm going to press continue. Yeah, so where am I? I am in India. So Indian time zone normally is referred to as the Kolkata time zone. So it selects Kolkata automatically, although the pin should be here if Kolkata were to be picked up correctly on the map. Anyway, we're going to say continue. So your name, I'm going to just create the user with the name 1%, and your computer's name one virtual machine, which is fine, but let's just make it smaller with 1 VM. Pick a username 1, choose a password. I am just typing in ONE1 as my password. This is not something you need to do. This is not something you should do. It says short password in front of the password field in red for a reason. Normally you should pick up a password which is long enough and contains mixed characters, special characters, capital letters, small letters, digits, and so on. So if I put in a fairly strong password, this warning should actually go away. So I'm going to, if I put in Strong password, it says strong password and the passwords match. But for this demo and for this virtual machine, I'm going to put the password simply as ONE1. That should suffice for now. Remember guys, don't do this. Don't actually put in a weak password which is less than 8 characters and does not have mixed capital and small letters at least, and please throw in a few special characters if you can. uh, I'm going to continue. Now you get the actual login installation screen, and it says installing systems, whatever is being done. You can see the log over here, and all you can do is just sit back and relax while Ubuntu is getting installed. Once the installation is complete, the installer window should go away and this screen should show up. It says continue testing, which will just close this window and you can keep using the live session. But we are going to restart for now and go into the install system rather. So clicking on restart now. So I rebooted the system and I logged back in with the user that I had created, ONE1, and this is what I get. I have adjusted my screen to be of this resolution so that the video does not look awkward with two different resolutions. I have not installed the proper display drivers, which is the VMware tools drivers. So I'm going to just close this, press next. It is you can just skip live patch for now, and yes, send some info to Canonical. I hope they are not misusing our data. It just says that you can use software, which is this Ubuntu Software Center, to install some interesting software. So I'll press done for now. That's your Ubuntu desktop. So remember when we actually said that we are not going to install the updates right away. So it's time for updating the system, the installed system right now. So as you can see, wired connection is already connected. We are going to launch the terminal. Click there and say terminal. You can either press enter here or you can actually go back to your desktop and press Alt Control and T and see it comes up. So the first thing that you need to do is of course create a bigger window so that you can see the output clearly. um, we need to run sudo apt update. This should update the repository information from the main server, and press enter. Sudo command runs is used to run any any of the arguments as commands with root user privileges. So it asks for the current user's password, which is again ONE1 in this case. Press enter, and it's going to update the its software repo information. It's going to take some time, so sit back and relax. It depends on your network connection how fast this is going to work. Now you can say sudo apt upgrade and press enter. It's going to calculate the changes that are going to take place after the upgradation is done, and it says you need to get 271 MB of archives, and after this operation 341 MB of additional disk space will be used. Normally you don't really need to go through all the packages that are going to get updated, but if you really understand what are packages and you are tech savvy, then just have a look on what is going to get updated. For here you can either press enter directly because the default action is yes in capital here. So you can either type Y and enter or just press enter and Y will be selected automatically. So I'm pressing enter. Now it's going to download all the latest packages from Ubuntu's local server. You can see it is India server in.archive.ubuntu.com, and it's going to download all the software that it found have been updated since the release. and it is installing the updates. It will unpack each of the packages that it downloaded and going to replace the existing ones. Remember guys, this is running fast, but because we are installing this on a SSD, which is a solid state disk device, and it's much faster than the rotating hard disk drives that you get in standard laptops or desktops. So this might not be just as fast for you, and it might take a little longer. That's it. The updates were installed. Now your system has got all the latest software that would have been installed if you selected download updates while installing Ubuntu on the install screen. But this is a much safer way. So we are done with the updating. Let's close the terminal and shut down the machine for now.